Okay, good morning. Welcome, community, to our general finance meeting of May 2nd, noting our start time about 9:06. Going to the agenda and the identification of media, the first agenda items. If you're on the line, please identify yourself.
Hi, Victoria Gray from the Turtle Island News.
Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning.
Anyone from Turo? I don't see any. Okay, moving on to changes, deletions, and adoptions of the agenda. Wendy?
Yeah, I have to leave at 10 o'clock for my email for a dentist. So I have one item. I don't know. I'll wait if it's close to 10, if I can raise it before I leave. If council will indulge me, I appreciate it.
Okay, here you go. Any other agenda items? So I just have one from Wendy. Can I get a mover, seconder?
Can I add one, please? It's Melba.
Yeah, for sure, Melba.
Cayuga money.
Cayuga
Cayuga money.
Okay.
I'll move, Nate. Audrey.
Okay, agenda's moved by Audrey with two additions. Their seconder.
I will.
Second by Carrie. If there's no further dialogue, I'll move to the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion's passed. We have no delegations or presentations this morning, so I'm going to move us right into the adoption of the general finance minutes of April 4th. And just note the change on the agenda should say 2022.
I'll move. Sure.
I'll second the motion, Melba.
Sorry about that, too. I was sitting here trying to find a mover for the minutes and I was frozen. Did anyone move on the minutes while I was gone? Moved by Sherry Lynn, second by Michelle. Thank you. Any further discussions on the minutes of April 1st? Hearing none, I'll move to the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion's passed. Going to move us into the Ottawa Trust Fund. Is there an update? I'll turn it over to Anna Cecile.
Good morning, everyone. The first one is regarding the Ottawa Trust Fund, and Becky is going to present that recommendation.
Okay. Go ahead, Beck.
Okay, this is just to release the funding for the Ottawa Trust Fund. It's done annually, every year, different amount every year. And the amount you see on the recommendation is the amount that we have to release for this year. And it goes towards the purchase of bread and cheese.
I have a question.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to go Helen and then Wendy.
Yeah, I'm questioning the 3,200 to the Economic Development Trust. Why are we giving the trust money? They're supposed to be giving us money.
Beck or Anna Cecile?
I'm actually not sure about that one. That was Wayne. It's something that's also done every year. It's just added into the amount. And then it's put towards, I don't know, I'll have to get Wayne, hold on.
While she's going to get Wayne, I'll also get Wendy, maybe to ask her a question as well.
I had the exact same question as Helen, and like these automatic things, it's done every year. We don't know why. I just, can we make it part of the motion to take it out and just have all of that money go towards bread and cheese? Because the cost of bread and cheese this year is so high.
Yeah.
We should put it towards that.
Yeah, just a comment. I don't,
Oh,
this is
go
the
ahead.
first time I've ever seen this, so I don't know what she means by every year. I've never seen it before. Unless it was included in the sum and we didn't know it was there, but I've never seen it.
In terms of the Ottawa Trust or the specific?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
in terms of the 3,200, I've never seen that in any bread and cheese request before. So I don't know what she means by every year.
Yeah, it is in there. It was always just included in the amount. We're just breaking it out this year. Just
Oh,
to
so it
start
was
making it
counted,
easy.
but we didn't know, I guess.
Correct.
Oh, I don't know. They're supposed to be giving us money. What are we giving them money for?
I'll go back over to Wendy.
Yeah, I'll make the motion on this minus the allocation to the trust. If council's
Okay,
agree.
noted.
Nathan, it's Hazel.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go in order here. I have a motion that's hit the floor with a movers on the Ottawa Trust. Before we go into further questions, is there a seconder to move this without the Economic Development Trust in there? Helen, your second?
Yeah.
So having been moved in second, I'll go into dialogue and questions. First, we have Hazel and then Audrey.
Yeah, I just would like to hear the clarification for that, for the 3,200 for economic development. What is it for? I want to know what that is.
Even though he took it out of the motion, you still wanna?
Yeah, because if
Okay.
it's been done all these years and nobody knew, so what is it for?
Okay, so we've noted that as a question.
That-
Sorry, go ahead, Hazel.
Just for clarification, I want to know what is that amount of money to economic development? What is it for? Like, I know
Okay.
there's a motion to take it out, but if it came out in the years before, then let's clarify what it was for. We don't know, and then we're taking it out, so let's have that understanding first.
Okay, Becca, I saw your hand up.
No, never mind.
Okay,
It's Melba. It's Melba. Can I
thanks.
ask a question too?
Yeah, I have Audrey next and then Wendy, but is anyone on the line that can provide some context in terms of the Economic Development Fund? Because what I'll do is I'll note that as a question and we'll seek to find the answer and get back to you if nobody on the line has the answer.
Yeah, Nate, that was my question too. Do we need this? Is it part of the bread and cheese event in some way that it's still a needed amount of money for ECDev? That's what I would like to do instead of us getting rid of it.
Clarify
If
it.
it's separate and if we need it, then we keep it in. If we don't need it and they can do it on their own. Like, is Darren there? Anna? Somebody should have an answer.
Vicky has her hand up, so maybe Vicky can help us with that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, Vicky has her hand up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll go to Beck.
Okay, it's not, what I do know, it's not the Development Corporation, if that's what everybody's thinking. It's that trust fund that council holds that for the land purchases. You know, they fund the Economic Trust Fund. It's not the Development Corporation that it's going to. It
Oh,
sits with council still in the trust, the economic. That's why I want Wayne a better explanation, because all I know, it's not going to the Development Corporation. It sits here with council in that little economic fund where the land purchase funds come out of.
oh, there you go.
So what is it used for? Is it used for bread and cheese? That's what I need to know.
I'm going to suggest, instead of trying to guess what the answer is, that we request Anna Cecile go out and find the actual answers and provide it back to us in a briefing note. I don't like doing this kind of guessing during these kind of important dialogues. So there's still a motion on the floor to move forward. And if we have to put it back in through another motion, we can do that once we get the information. That's my suggestion. And then I'm going to go to Wendy and then Melba.
Thanks, Nathan. And I appreciate the getting the clarification, but it's $3,200. If we put it towards this trust to purchase land, we're not purchasing anything with $3,200. I don't know why it's cut off that percentage. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that we have all of our most senior people on this meeting and no one can explain it is pretty concerning for me. We shouldn't have things written in if we can't answer questions about it. So I go back again for bread and cheese. I understand from any orientation that we've had any other meeting that this money is specific for bread and cheese. That's why we transfer it and that's why we release it. So, you know, bread and cheese is costing us close to $100,000, I think was the last estimate that we've seen, approximately. So, you know, 3,200 will help. But I mean, I'm whatever council decides, happy to do it, but that's just my perspective on this. Thanks.
Thanks, Wendy. I'm going to now go to Melba and then Hazel and Beck. Melba, you have the floor.
Yeah, I guess Becky clarified it to a certain extent, but she said we've decided to break it up this year. And as Wendy said, things are costly, and I think we should have more money into the bread and cheese. And I think we're going to have a great amount of people based on what has happened with COVID and how they've been locked up to a certain extent. So that's my views. It should be included with the cost of the bread and cheese. Thank you.
Thanks, Melba. Hazel?
Yeah, and I just want to say that for clarification's sake, council never ever knew until it was clarified this time that 3,200 was for the Economic Development Trust. So I can't clarify something that I didn't know about. It was all contained in one large amount. But I just seen shares or Wayne wants to clarify it, I think. Wayne said it is the Bell Canada lease funds. So there's your answer.
That have to do with bread and cheese.
Well, I don't know. It's there. Maybe they just put it all together as one recommendation.
Okay, thanks for that. And yeah, it does now leads me to more questions than answers. I'm still of the opinion, like, I don't like making decisions based on guessing and you know, one word answers. I'm okay with moving forward, and we can always revisit this if required once we get the proper briefing and the proper information. Helen?
No, I was going to just say, if they want to keep that in there, then I'm not moving the motion. I'll seconding the motion. I'll second the motion if it's taken out. Because I have, like Wendy, I have concerns that our finance people don't even know what this money is for. They should know. They should be able to answer questions. So I have a concern about that. So I'll second it as long as it stays in. But if the council wants to take it out, somebody else is going to have to second the motion.
Likewise with moving.
Okay. So there is a motion on the floor, so I am following proper procedures on this. that hasn't formally been withdrawn, but the motion as it stands now does not have the Economic Development Trust in it for $32,000. So it's been properly moved and seconded. It has been discussed. I'm still suggesting that, finance bring this back with a briefing note, detailing what the trust is, detailing the Bell lease requirements within it. And then we can put it back in at that time. But there is a motion on the floor, and it's been moved and seconded. So if there's no further questions or comments, I'm going to move us into the vote. All in favor?
I oppose
there-
Nathan.
Is
Hazel.
there any opposed?
I oppose Hazel.
Hazel?
It's Melba. Can I hear that again? Because it's my understanding Helen's saying she's not going to move that forward. And I understand Wendy said likewise or whatever. So where are we at with the motion?
Yeah, so the motion has been properly moved and seconded by Wendy and Helen is a motion that does not include the economic trust and the $3,200.
Thank you.
So far I had Hazel opposing. Is there any
I do
others?
as well, Nate, it's Audrey. I would
Audrey?
like to, yeah, I'm just opposed for the second reason. I would rather have the whole thing clarified. And if it's needed in there, we don't have to take it out and we just have to get the briefing note. Whoever knows the answer to this, whether it's Wayne or who, they need to put it out in a briefing note to us. Yeah, well,
Okay, so I have two opposed. And moving to the vote, all in favor, just tallying. So the motion has passed. Motion to waive second reading. Moved by Wendy, seconder. Second by Helen. All in favor?
oppose.
Opposed.
Any opposed? Opposed by Hazel and Audrey. That motion has passed. So what I'm going to suggest, I do see Wayne is here now, but the direction from council was to get a briefing note together, in specific again on the Ottawa Trust, but specifically around the Economic Development Trust, the Bell factors, and those requirements that are in it. And we can bring that back at for a motion to include at a later date. Wendy?
So do our departments need more time to prepare for this meeting? Because we just spent 20 minutes on an item that should have been a simple, like 3 minutes. So if our departments need more time because, there's COVID, there's things going on, whatever's happening to prepare, then let's address that as well. Because I'll stop there.
Thanks, Wendy. And definitely too, I was looking, and I'm still getting up to speed on the Ottawa Trust Fund, to be honest. I know it was in orientation, but I'm still doing some reading to get myself prepared for that. Okay, so we are bringing that back for a briefing note to get clarification on the Economic Development Trust, but for the purposes of bread and cheese, the 44 was moved forward. I'm going to move us into agenda item number 6, Gypsy Moth Spraying Program. I was looking for context from either Darren or Anna Cecile.
There was an
Nate,
approval. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Anna. Go ahead, Anna.
So there was an approval to support the Gypsy Moth Spraying Program from the Brantford Casino funds. And this is a request to approve the invoice for the insecticide purchased for $618,372.06. It's within the level of approval of council, so that's why it has been brought for approval.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Audrey.
So does this mean this is just to buy the spray and then they'll be coming back with another invoice for the actual spraying of it? And if that's just for this stuff here, then I will make the motion to move that.
Yes, they did have to purchase the insecticide in advance just to ensure that they had the supply had enough supplies in order to complete, and a further invoice will come for the service.
Okay, thank you. I'll move, Nate.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, so just in terms of procedure, having been moved by Audrey, seconded by Carrie. Further questions, I'll go to Wendy.
So I see this particular invoice, but I'm just looking because we passed a motion not too long ago for over $1 million, right? For gypsy moth spraying. So I would assume this is part and parcel of that. So do we have that full budgeted amount?
Yes, in effect, council approved that motion. And this is on, but one thing is the approval of the allocation of the funds, and this is for specific invoice. So it is part of the approval.
So we should see that as part of this motion, because the approval was based on the quote of 1 million, whatever that price is, but I know it's over $1 million. So this is a payment against that $1 million. So we should see that in the motion to know that this is not an outside 1 million plus 600. This is part of that, just so that we have that proper accounting. Can that be part of the motion to the mover and seconder?
Thanks, Wendy. And I agree. Sorry, Audrey, you were good with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Carrie?
got no problem. I got no problem with it.
Okay, so that was good direction to add that into the motion. Darren?
Just gonna make the point Wendy made. I should have caught this with this motion. It should say they have a whereas, and it should reference the actual motion that was authorizing the full contracted amount. So it should have a whereas, and then therefore, as part of the setup of the motion itself.
Perfect. Okay, so we've noted that, and we're gonna put that in. Wendy?
Yeah, do we know what that total amount is? Can we pull that up? Just so that we all have that? Anyone?
Beck?
In the briefing note, I'm just gonna pull it up here. Hang on.
It is in the agenda pack behind if you scroll down a little bit more, that motion is like,
Yeah.
in the agenda pack, yeah, the briefing note, then there's the Zimmer contract, and then the motion is behind that.
You mentioned the page number, Becky, so it's easy to find.
Yeah,
So sorry, I see that, but I'm sorry, I've got my glasses on here, but I don't see the total amount. I see the invoice, I see the briefing note for 618. That's what I was looking for, the total, oh, okay, so here we go. Page 8, number 2, that total application cost, 1,072. That's the piece. Or sorry, 1,072,000, right?
correct.
Okay, so we have the information. And we are gonna amend that and put that into the motion. Just trying to get my info here. Okay, is there any further dialogue on this? Okay, so having been properly moved and seconded, we are going to add a whereas and a therefore to include the full budgeted amount as referenced by Wendy. Going forward, so if there's no further dialogue, I'm going to go to the vote. All in favor?
Favor.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion has passed. Motion to waive second reading.
Audrey,
Yeah, well,
Moved by Audrey, second by Carrie. Moving to the vote, all in favor?
Favor.
Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, motion has passed. Moving us into agenda item number 7.
So, historically, council, in order to support the organizations that work with us, we prepare MOUs for flow-through donations. So people that want to donate to a certain cause or certain organization can do so while issuing a tax receipt. Most of the organizations that work with us in Six Nations, they are not a charitable organization, therefore they cannot issue tax receipts. So we do memorandums of understanding so we can do that. In this case, Six Nations Spreading the Spirit, Breaking the Silence would like to sign an MOU so they can receive donations while issuing tax receipts. Attached, you will find the MOU. We're basically committing to receive the money and transferring to them. And the Six Nations Spreading Spirit, Breaking the Silence, they commit to keep the accounting records and use those monies for the purpose of the organization itself. So the suggestion is to accept and approve the MOU. So between council and this organization.
Okay, I don't know if it's my Dropbox this morning, but there's not much in it. Do we have the MOU at least, or a briefing note to support it?
Yeah, so in general finance, all the documents are scanned within the agenda. So you will find that in page 12. So the briefing note is in page 12, and the MOU itself is in page 13.
Okay, now I got it. Okay, I got some questions coming up, so I'm going to go to Wendy and then Helen.
Yeah, I have no problem moving this once council's asked their questions. I'm making the assumption though that this is a template that we use for all of our MOUs, and it has gone through legal review so that the checks and balances are there. If that assumption is incorrect, please clarify. And in a flow through, there's admin, and I didn't catch, sorry, Anna, if you talked about the admin, but do we waive admin fees on this?
Yes, so we don't charge when it's a flow through, and actually we do very little work, such as only issue the tax receipt. We do not charge admin fee. We only charge admin fee when we administrate the funds. So we have to keep control of that, issue invoices, issue checks, receive, update. That's when we charge administration fee. So when this is a flow through, we do not charge it. This document was originally reviewed by a lawyer. We have only updated names such as, that now is not a senior administration officer, is a chief executive officer. The director of finance is now a chief financial officer, and such
Okay,
and so.
I move.
Okay, thanks. Moved by Wendy. Is there a seconder? And before we go back into questions, because I know Helen had another question.
I'll second with a question.
Okay, so moved by Wendy, second by Helen. Helen, you have the floor.
Well, on the one part, it says Six Nations Brightening the Spirit, Breaking the Silence, and then the next paragraph, it has a different name. Is this a different organization in the second paragraph, or is that?
Recommendation 2.
I don't know.
Melba, I understand that's
that's-
Mohawk language.
For the,
Believe.
so that is the Mohawk language for brightening the spirit, I guess. Is that what it is? Traditional name? I don't know.
Can we get
Understanding
clarification?
that it's separate.
Just reads, it reads if you're doing an MOU and we're doing the way it's written, we're doing it with two different companies. Or two different names anyways.
I'm just, Beck, can you clarify and for the purpose of the
Yeah.
motion, we'll get consistency on that.
Yes, that's correct. There are two MOUs. One is with Brightening the Spirit and the other one is with the Oklawana.
What is it? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's
I've heard of Brightening. I know what Brightening the Spirit is.
yeah, they deal with
It's a
suicide
suicide.
prevention. And the other one is
Yeah, but I don't
Brian,
know what that other one is.
it's Brian Miracle with the language, Mohawk language, I think it is.
So we have the same MOU for both of them?
No, that's
Yes,
different things.
the MOU is the same format. It's the same format, but the name
Oh.
has changed. The one says Brightening
Oh.
the Spirit throughout, the other one says Oklawana.
Oh.
Again, can we add somewhere, like, put some context to these motions? Because if there are two separate ones, I do understand what it is saying now, but it needs kind of that whereas clause to explain that there are two separate. So I'm just asking for the purposes of the motion and going back to the mover and seconder, are you good with adding context to this?
Or maybe they can be done separately, Nate.
Nathan, they are. It's 7A is Brightening the Spirit, 7B is the Oklawana, and 7C is waiving second reading on both of them.
So
So can I clarify?
Yeah.
So what would have been helpful is 7A is the motion and B, waive second reading. 7C is approve the MOU and D is waive second reading if they're two separate pieces. So the way that it reads now, we're approving both of these together and then waiving second reading combined.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So I'm happy to do the combined and
Okay.
make a motion on both of them if council agrees.
Okay, you good with that, Helen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 7A and B moved concurrently, and it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further questions? Hearing none, going to the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, motion has passed. Motion to waive second reading on both 7A and B. Moved by Wendy, second by Helen. Moving to the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion has passed. Moving us into the revised donation policy.
Point 8 is the committee in charge of the donation policy. It's requesting a modification. The donation policy is it's prepared for community members, and they the policy establishes a donation of $500 for particular people, and $1,000 for organizations. So due to that, this policy has never been changed the amount, and so the years has passed. We are requesting to adjust the amount instead of the donation being $500 to be $750, which is an increase of 50%, as well as an increase of 50% on the $1,000, so it would be $1,500. Dwayne, if you could please provide us with additional information regarding the, when was the last time this motion was updated, and also where we're changing the criteria to grant the donation.
Good morning, everybody. The policy was last revised in the end of 2012, so it's almost been 10 years. And the committee is looking to do away with essentially there's a rating system within the policy. The information that's been provided by two of the longstanding committee members is that whenever applicants came to fill out an application, they would never be able to achieve the amount that had been allocated, that being the 500 and 1,000. So there's criteria listed in paragraphs 14 through 17, and it's pretty comprehensive listing, and people generally have that all filled out, and so the committee is well, they were expressing that, you know, no matter how good the applications that came in, they would never be able to receive the maximum amount allowable.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne. Do we have any questions?
I'll move on the resolution. Melba.
Okay, moved by Melba,
I'll second Hazel.
second by Hazel. Having been properly moved and seconded, is there any discussion, questions? I'm gonna go Michelle and then Wendy.
How much is in this fund?
We usually allocate 10,000 and it comes, the source is OFNLP.
Sorry, did you say 10,000
Yes.
for 1 year?
Yes, and we have not exceeded the funds this year.
Wow.
Okay, thanks for that. Wendy.
So just looking at the eligibility in terms of if somebody have received funding the prior year, they're not eligible for the next year. Like what if they're doing something great again the following year? And if we've got funds that are unspent, then why wouldn't we just allocate them? I mean, our departments reapply over and over to other funds and their applications are accepted. So why would we deny community members that same opportunity?
Good question.
Yeah.
Helen?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why it's there. It's supposed to be helping people that are, you know, have something going on, they're low on funds, or they're, you know, living on fixed incomes or something, or it wasn't just, if, you know, if people have money, they're supposed to use their own money. It was to help people that wanted to do things that didn't have money. And the reason it was put to say once a year, because, you know, these kind of programs can spiral out of control if you don't watch, because the same people might be applying for money the same year. Just as, you know, say for example, if somebody can't afford to pay to go on a tournament somewhere, then we would help them, give them a little bit of money to do that, or whatever, go, you know, do something for school or whatever. But we don't want people coming back every year with the same request, because then you can't help a lot of people. And that's sometimes what happens with these kind of programs, is if you do it where they can apply every year, you'll find it's going to be the same people applying every year. And that leaves out other people in our community that could be applying that might need it. So that's why it was done like that. I mean, if you want to change it, it's up to you guys, but.
Okay, thanks for that.
Get out of control.
For sure, that was good context and good for the discussion on this particular piece. I see Michelle.
I think we need to raise it. I know there's some really great athletes in our community. One's playing baseball, right? And just his fees alone are 30,000. So, you know, I wouldn't object if this is an opportunity, we have individuals in OHL, like, why are we not supporting our young people? So I would be looking at even upping it. The fact I'd like, it would be nice to see the trend. If we're not even spending $10,000, to me, that sounds like community's not even coming. Yet we have departments, and Wendy makes a really good point. Departments applying for grant funding, they have surpluses, and yet we continue, or I guess it's a trust fund, continues to give them funds. So I think individually we should be helping our athletes.
Good point, Michelle. Sherry Lynn?
Yeah, I agree with what Michelle said. And I think the other part about it too is I see the funding categories, but I think in our community, we see that again, education, the books, I see like uniforms and stuff, but also too, I see people like even there's cutbacks in dentists. Like there's a lot of things that are cut back. So I know this is, people need to get their teeth fixed too. You know, and there's cutbacks in that. So when we sit here and read, you know, the funding categories, you know, I understand with that, but I think we need to really look at the gaps that our community members are having in having to have, you know, funding or raffles just to get their teeth done or things like that also. So there's a lot of things that aren't covered in areas. So I don't know if it needs to be looked at again to like a wholesome discussion, but I think there can be other areas. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Wendy?
So as a compromise, if we pass this with the increase in funding, which I agree with, can we ask the committee or whoever's doing this review work to go back and take maybe another look at it again and see if there's some other revisions based on the conversation and then bring it back again? But go ahead with this motion.
Absolutely. I think that's a great piece for us to do because we had a really good discussion, got some clarification. The motion does read that the committee is going to go back and do the work and bring it back at a subsequent general finance meeting. So last comment to Darren, and then we'll move into the vote on this.
I took my hand down, Nathan. You mentioned what I was saying. The motion was really just to provide context and input from council for discussion today, and then take it back for additional changes.
Absolutely. Okay, so no further dialogue, good discussion, good input, and we'll get it revised at the subsequent meeting. So having been properly moved and seconded, moving to the vote, all in favor?
Favor.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion has passed. Motion to waive second reading.
Motion, Melba.
Do we need to waive second reading? Because we're bringing it back anyway.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there is no motion to waive second reading on that. We had two additional items. Wendy, you got 10 minutes, I think. So I'll go to your item first and then Melba's.
Okay, thanks very much. I just wanted to raise, I don't know if council has seen some of the information about the little 5-year-old boy from Red Earth Cree Nation. He's 5, Frank Young. He's disappeared. He disappeared from a playground. The RCMP reported in a CBC article that there's no indication of abduction, so there was no Amber Alert. So surrounding communities and municipalities, some volunteers have been searching for him. RCMP have done some things, but we don't see that huge media burst, for this little boy compared to when other children go missing, and the whole, he disappeared from a playground, but they said there's no evidence, so no Amber Alert. I mean, that would send out that, that notice. So I don't know if we can make a donation because there's 2 communities. The parents live in Shoal Lake and they're saying, they need more because everybody's exhausted from the searching. I think it's 9 days in or 11 days in, if I'm not mistaken, in a search. So I don't know if we can send a contribution to the community. If, Mark can reach out to the chief to say, is there something they need? Or we can even do some media around it to say, hey, pay attention to this and make sure the community has everything they need. Because I just, he's 5 years old. So,
Yeah.
and that's my item.
No, thanks, Wendy. And such a devastating story. I've been following that as well. And I think that outreach and those issues with the Amber Alerts, because, you know, time and time again, you see the evidence of it. You never see brown children within any of those Amber Alerts as well. Helen.
Yeah, we all got an email from that guy from the Globe and Mail yesterday, wanting to write about the Archbishop coming to Six Nations. Maybe we need to contact him to write a story about this little boy. It's more important about the missing boy than about the Archbishop. And who knows, he might do that.
Yeah, we can do our outreach with media as well going forward. I think that was in the motion. So I'm hearing some questions around the need for, is there an amount we should put forward, or do you want us to do the investigation first to determine needs?
I think we should find out what the need is and then make a donation. Maybe if we do a cap amount, I don't know what we have that we could donate. Just, you know, I don't know if that's something that Darren or Anna could throw out to us to consider, but as a cap amount, but do that follow up to see if there's any way that we can support. And this goes on everywhere, you know, but this is just, you know, one of the many cases.
Thanks for that, Wendy. Anna, Cecile, or Darren, do you have an idea of a cap amount we could put in this? And then we'll get the chief to do his outreach to the family and the leadership up there to get exact needs. But I agree with Wendy. I think we should have that cap amount.
We have funds leftovers from OFLP and OG, but this is, you know, a very unique donation. I don't think we have done it before. However, you know, the amount that we decide will have to kind of apply to everything. From my end, I don't know what the amount will be used for. Maybe, you know, the parents are not working because, you know, it's very difficult to constantly put your mind in something when your child is missing. We'll look more for a suggestion. We don't have a historic amount for this, so we're looking more for suggestion from council. Like the first, yes, Wendy, I think she'll have some.
So maybe do it based on need. Maybe if somebody can reach out to the community and Mark can reach out to the chief, find out if there's need. Maybe it's media. Maybe that's where we can use our strength, whatever that is. But if we can help out in some way, let's leave it open.
Okay, so I'm going to note this down. Do we need a motion? Because what I'm going to do is just note this for the chief's office. I'm actually meeting with them today at 4, so I can have that further dialogue with them and bring this back, or do you want the motion in there?
I'm happy to make a motion if we need one, just to.
Okay. Let's get this in a motion, and that way we can do the follow-up with the chief, identify what that exact need is, and then bring it back in terms of any set amounts that we need to kind of clarify. So motion's being moved by Wendy. Is there a seconder?
I'll second it, Audrey.
Seconded by Audrey. Any further dialogue on this? Hearing none. Okay, going to the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion has passed. Okay, I'm not going to waive second reading until we get a little bit further context
waive
on
that one?
the needs. If that's okay, Wendy?
Sorry, what was that?
Motion to waive
I
second.
even heard you. Oh, yes. Sorry.
And I think I heard Audrey as well. So motion to waive second reading. And all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion's passed. Okay, last item I had was Melba, and your item.
Yes, I'm asking, well, a year ago I did ask about bread and cheese, not bread and cheese, at bread and cheese time concerning the Cayuga money. And I'm asking again, will we be accommodating the people of Six Nations to get their Cayuga money? It's been a few years now, I believe, since the last time they received their money. And usually in the past, of course, it coincided with bread and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking, is the finance department prepared for Cayuga money to be given out? If not, will they be?
Okay, thanks for that, Melba. So question to Finance Department, Anna Cecile?
Yes, I understand that, yes, we used to give $5 a year for everyone from the Cayuga Nation. And Janice from Lands of Membership looks after that part of the project. So I'll be glad to follow up with from Janice to confirm this.
Okay, once,
Thank
and,
you.
and also, once we do get that confirmation, to bring it back to council, and also kind of how that's gonna be distributed, notices, stuff like that would be great. Getting a thumbs up, perfect. Okay, council, so I had no further agenda items. So I guess I'm looking for that motion to adjourn.
I will.
Moved by Michelle, seconder.
A second, Hazel.
Second by Hazel. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion's passed. Okay, thanks, community. Wishing you the best day today. And we have adjourned the open session.